Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am, of course, the real Monty Allen, and I am your crypto nerd. And today we're talking about the top 10 reasons that YLDY will succeed. Let's first talk about the no-loss lottery. And people tell me, hey, Monty, it's no longer the no-loss lottery. Now we have the prize games. Well, that's true. So the prize games were an all-encompassing term, but the no-loss lottery is still technically in existence. It's just part of the games, and there are going to be more games to come. So the no-loss lottery was the introduction that YLDY needed. So YLDY was able to gather a large following because we all essentially, we wanted to go in and sort of stake our algo, and then we staked our YLDY. In exchange for that staking, it sort of works like staking. We put all of our algos, all of our YLDY into their ecosystem, and really it got a huge following, right? A billion, oh my gosh, the TVL has just blown up. It was fun watching it go from 1 million, 2 million, 20 million, 27 million. It's an incredible ascension for the YLDY team. Next up, ASA staking. So number 9 here is all about the ASAs, and I stole this from the ALGO fam coin, so I hope you don't mind, ALGO fam. But this really encompasses a lot of the different groups that are part of the ASAs. So what's unique about the Algorand ecosystem, and we'll talk about this for YLDY here in just a few minutes, and what that means is that there is a group, there is a conglomerate, if you will, of teams that are all working together. And really this ASA staking is unique. So if I have Opulus and I want to stake it for more YLDY, it's possible that I could in the near future, because we have this ecosystem and each of these ASAs has their own unique following. YLDY is going to act as the hub for all of these ASAs and give them some sort of a use case besides their intended use case. So if I have Opulus and I already own some music royalty rights, why wouldn't I want to also possibly invest in some YLDY or allow that for liquidity pools? We'll talk about that here in just a moment as well. Number 8, bridges. So when we talk about bridges, we're talking about bridges to the Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and more to come. And why are these really important? So bridges, if you've heard Silvio speak about bridges, he's very passionate about the bridges. And these ecosystems of different blockchains, they tend to operate within silos because by nature, one activity on this blockchain isn't easily transferable to another one. But that really limits you. So if you started on the Ethereum blockchain, if you started on the Polygon blockchain, it means that you can't take advantage of Algorand's speed, you can't take advantage of Algorand's lower cost or security. But let's say you want to. Well, now there's going to be bridges so you can cross-platform. Wrapped coins, wrapped tokens are going to be a thing, and it's going to be fantastic. YLDY's already talking about when they create this bridge, they're going to take a lot of YLDY, they're going to essentially wrap it and put it on the new blockchain. So we have a bunch of ETH, partners who want to own YLDY, but don't know how, they're not familiar with it enough. Now YLDY is going to be on the other smart chains, which means that, hey, there's going to be a Binance Smart Chain version of YLDY, which is good for price action, it's good for functionality, it's good to get that exposure. Next up, we've got the automated market maker. So back to just the Algorand ecosystem, there's not really a very strong market maker at this point in time. Now, I think we're about to get TinyMan. TinyMan seems like it's about to go live. We're also going to get a DEX as well, so we've got ALGO DEX in the works. We've got some other really cool things coming along. But YLDY is going to make it what's essentially an atomic swap from YLDY to ALGO. And who's to say that they will have enough liquidity pools for atomic swaps for lots of other ASAs as well, or other minted wrapped tokenomics or tokens. So there are a lot of wrapped ASAs that are going to come to market, and it bears in mind that it's very likely that YLDY is going to have enough liquidity to create some of these atomic swaps. Now, atomic swaps are fantastic because it's not really, you don't have to worry about impacting market pricing if you're exchanging a considerable amount of sum. It's not going to move the markets nearly as much. It's much easier to just say, okay, I have this batch trade that I want to submit. And that is very appealing, especially for our ecosystem. All right, when Flambeau. And yes, that is the original YLDY right there. That is YLDY number 1. So Stitch Bob, thanks for letting me swipe your picture there for a little while. So when Flambeau though. Now, this isn't just really about NFTs. It's really about the community. So the community surrounding YLDY is really like, it's almost like the meme stocks. So it has that feeling that the fans have a fever and they want more Flambeau, they want more YLDYlings, and they are very passionate about what's going on in the YLDY community. The Telegram group is off the chain. You have to go check it out, especially the unofficial one. The unofficial one gets a little out of hand, but it's where a lot of interaction between the community gets wild. And we have community members creating new apps that are, purely just to figure out, okay, how much should I stake? When should I stake? They're trying to figure this out. So it's just a community that is really sort of pulled together and is just willing to spend their YLDY, their ALGO, their other ASAs in support of their favorite ASA, which at this moment happens to be YLDY. So, liquidity pools. Now, we mentioned this slightly earlier in conjunction with the no-loss lottery. Now, the no-loss lottery really just trained us as consumers of the YLDY system, right? So we are their consumers, their customers, that, okay, it's all right and it's safe to put my money into a pool and expect some type of reward. Now, the no-loss lottery works with sort of grouping together all of our algo, staked rewards. Now, those staked rewards aren't going to be in perpetuity. We know that, right? So governance is coming for the Algorand blockchain, and after the governance passes, there's not likely to be any sort of community rewards, not like they are now. So eventually, those no-loss lotteries are likely to go away or convert over to these liquidity pools. Now, you can make a reward or earn something by staking into a liquidity pool. So liquidity pools help the atomic swaps. They say, okay, here's what I need. I need to make sure that there's liquidity. I need to make sure that I have enough YLDY. I need to have enough Opulus. I need to have enough XPS. I need to have enough of the planets, whatever ASA that we're working with in a centralized location. So if somebody wants to swap planets for Opulus, then there's got to be enough in there to swap out. And you're going to make a premium. You're going to make, as a middleman, essentially, as the one who's facilitating the exchange, a little bit of extra. Now, that extra might be paid out in YLDY. We don't know exactly how it's going to work out, but I suspect that's what it will be. So, in essence, you put your money into the YLDY system, and you let it sit there, and other people use your liquidity, because YLDY is not a bank. The bank has the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve provides liquidity, overnight funds rate in the U.S. They seed that account. They provide the pools. Well, we don't have that because we are decentralized. That is what DeFi is. So we, the people, the holders, have to provide that liquidity instead of some kind of centralized government. And that's at the heart of what DeFi is. So for DeFi to succeed, it needs you and I to participate. And so YLDY's following, YLDY's fan base is really going to come in like crucial, like a superhero when it's time for these liquidity pools, because we're going to have a comfort level with YLDY, with their security systems, with their proof of concept, that it's okay for me to put my tokens in the YLDY system and participate in these pools. If everybody participates, then the system is going to go crazy. All right. Number 4, esports. So let's talk about Talon and YLDY. So we've got Talon. Esports is huge. The audience for esports is fantastic. I think that the esports group is really just a way for an entry point into the Twitch community. So esports, Talon, Twitch, maybe gaming, things like video games, instead of, sponsoring the esports team, maybe there's a way we could sponsor in-game competitions or even be in-game currency. A lot of these games already have in-game currency, and there's a huge NFT market that is available for in-game items. Imagine being able to take your favorite sword or pistol or whatever it is and cross-platform it, sell it as an NFT, or move it from one game to the other. Those kinds of things are on the horizon, and YLDY seems to be poised to take advantage of the situation because they're already establishing those relationships. So first, they want to gain market share and visibility and brand. Same thing they did with the No Loss Lottery. They wanted to gain brand recognition with all of us. They wanted to get us comfortable with the YLDY name. Well, now the esports community is going to be comfortable with the YLDY name. It's going to be well respected. It's associated with a winning group, and they have first mover advantage. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. So, first mover advantage. So being part of the Algorand ecosystem, part of the Algorand community, part of the Algorand ASA group. They're involved in the accelerators. They're involved in the developers hours. They get full support. They get a blog post from the Algorand community, the Algorand Foundation. So they get a lot of support from Algorand, aka the mothership. So that group migrated wholeheartedly, for the most part, over to YLDY. Now, Algorand themselves, they're not fantastic at PR. It's not their forte, but they do have a decent following. They do have some fervent fans. And that fandom has transferred over to YLDY, who is a little better and has a little more of a unique identity, in my opinion. Algorand is a little more first mover towards government acceptance and traditional finance, whereas YLDY just breaks the mold. They went all flambeau. All right. Number 2, we're closing in on the end here, the NFT marketplace. So the NFT marketplace isn't live yet, of course. We would know if it was, but we've got flamingo laser eyes here. Now, I already blew the NFT yieldling graphic, so I couldn't paste another yieldling here. I didn't want to, but this guy is pretty darn cool. Now, the NFT marketplace is coming. The YLDY team has put it on their roadmap. They've talked about it several times. They want to make sure that there's some kind of standardized NFT system in place for the Algorand blockchain before they go all in and create a system for their marketplace for the exchange of NFTs. They want to make sure that it's standardized first. Nobody wants to go in and build a Betamax, system of trade if Betamax isn't going to stick around for long term. Interestingly enough, the NFT smart contracts are really, really interesting. We'll talk about that in other videos. But the NFT marketplace is coming to YLDY, and the NFT explosion is really going to drive people to their website, to their system. And NFTs really, in my opinion, all of the ASAs, all of the NFTs, I think they're really just going to combine so that YLDY is just the hub, which makes them primed for a launch pad. So I don't know if you can see, but there's a little YLDY flamingo going off on a rocket over there. So YLDY hasn't talked a whole lot about this launchpad idea, but I'm fairly certain that they are angling towards being a launchpad for other projects. Now, what that means is they have an audience, they have liquidity pools. That means they have an audience with liquidity, right? They have people who have funds available and they're not actively using them because they're willing to stake them. Well, what if you took a portion of those funds and invested them into a new project? YLDY themselves came to fruition off of a launchpad, trust swap. Now, if they themselves can pay it forward, and I have an inkling that they want to in the worst way, they want to help other projects get off the ground using Launchpad. So all of these other folks could take, what if you could invest in a new project with any of your ASAs? That would be fantastic. That opportunity would be amazing. What if Ethereum folks wanted to invest in some of our projects? They could use the bridges to transfer over some of their crypto wealth into our ecosystem so they could use our launchpad. That's what we're talking about here. That's why those bridges are so important, so we can bring in funds to grow our ecosystem from other blockchains. So if you're a Binance Smart Chain user and you don't necessarily want to get Algorand, you want to transfer some of your ETH over, you could use your Go BTC, let's say. So we've got the algo mint stuff. Go BTC, you want to transfer that over, you certainly can, and then you can use Go BTC to invest in the Launchpad. So all of these minted other coins, these wrapped coins, can get transferred to Algorand, placed into the YLDY system, and used to Launchpad. So it's a great way to be the hub for all of these other systems. And when I say hub, I think that YLDY is positioning themselves as the center of the Algorand universe. Because if all the bridges lead to YLDY, well, then it just makes sense that they would be like the area of commerce. All of the business is going to go on there. So in the olden days, you know, cities sprung up around ports when there were you know, trade lines. Cities sprung up around in the United States around railroad stops. So these were areas where communication and transport and goods and services exchange. YLDY is the virtual hub for the cryptocurrency community. So if you're on the Binance chain, you want to get to Algorand, boom, first stop YLDY. If you are on the Polygon chain and you want to trade or exchange and do business with anybody on the Algorand ecosystem, boom, first stop YLDY. If you are an Algorand holder, if you're an Opulus holder, if you are a YLDY holder yourself, and you want to get something that is not normally available on the Algorand blockchain, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the YLDY site, because that's where everybody conglomerates or congregates from other ecosystems. It's like the international swap meet. So if you want to go to the international swap meet, then what you need to do is go to YLDY. All right. So if you want to have, you know, a Swiss watch and a German jacket and an American cheeseburger, and you want to buy all those things in the same day, well, it's difficult to do in the real world. But if you want to buy Binance Smart Chain coins and you want Polygon coins and some ERC20 tokens, and you want to do all of that in the same day, you're going to head to YLDY. So there you have it. Top 10 reasons that I think YLDY is going to be a massive success. So if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, hit like. If you like this, share this content so we get the word out about YLDY. We want to help them grow, because those liquidity pools, those bridges, we need to have somebody transportation-wise going across those bridges. So help get the word out. Share this video today, and stay safe out there. Crypto Nerd out.